If you've ever felt invisible in a relationship, like your efforts go unnoticed and your voice unheard, this video is for you. The hard truth? Being taken for granted isn't just about what others do to you, it's about what you allow. Most people focus on vague advice like communicate better or give them space, but the reality is far harsher. To truly change this dynamic, you need to look inward, confront uncomfortable truths, and take action that might feel brutal, but is necessary. Let's look deep into the psychology of respect and discover strategies to stop anyone from taking you for granted. 1. Understand that you teach people how to treat you. Let's start with a slap of reality. People treat you based on the rules you've set. Every time you let someone cross a boundary without consequence, you're silently telling them, "This is okay." For instance, when your partner interrupts you mid-conversation and you let it slide, you're teaching them that your words aren't important. Psychologists call this behavioral conditioning, where repeated actions with no resistance become normalized. Consider this example. A woman in a marriage complains that her husband doesn't respect her opinions during decision-making. But when you probe deeper, you realize she's always deferred to his choices, even when she disagreed. Her silence taught him that her voice didn't matter. If you're feeling invisible, start by asking yourself, what behaviors have I allowed? Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "You bear your own responsibility for what happens to you." This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about reclaiming your power. From today, recognize that every interaction sets a precedent. Speak up when you're interrupted. Walk away when you're disrespected. Change starts with you. Second stop, overgiving. It's a trap. Generosity is a beautiful trait, but overgiving, that's a recipe for being taken for granted. When you're constantly the one sacrificing, helping, or fixing things, you're creating an imbalance that others will exploit, often unconsciously. They start expecting your effort and stop valuing it. Psychologist Dr. Harriet Lerner calls this the giving trap, a cycle where giving becomes your identity. Take Sarah's story. She's always the first to offer help, whether it's covering shifts at work or planning family events. But one day she realized something. No one ever asked if she needed help. Why? Because her overgiving signaled that she didn't need anything in return. People assumed she was fine carrying the load. To break this cycle, you need to pull back. Set boundaries around your time and energy. Let people handle their own problems sometimes. When you create space for others to step up, you'll see who truly values you and who was just taking advantage. 3. Demand respect through actions, not words. Respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you command. And that starts with how you respect yourself. If you're constantly prioritizing others over yourself, how can you expect them to prioritize you? Actions speak louder than words, and nothing is louder than self-respect. Think about this. A man keeps showing up late to meetings, and instead of addressing it, his colleagues adjust their schedules around him. The result? He learns that his time is more valuable than theirs. The same applies to personal relationships. If you're always available, always accommodating, you're teaching others that your time and energy are disposable. The key here is consistency. Stop accepting disrespect, even in small forms. Cancel plans when someone's repeatedly late. Don't reply to texts from people who ignore your boundaries. Respect yourself enough to walk away from situations that diminish your worth. 4. Confront their behavior directly, no sugarcoating. Tough conversations are critical to any relationship. When your partner pulls away emotionally, it's not the time to silently resent them or spiral into overthinking. Instead, you confront the issue head-on. Sit them down and say, "I feel like we've grown apart and it's painful. Can we talk about what's happening?" This direct approach forces clarity. Maybe they admit they're overwhelmed with stress or have disengaged emotionally. Either way, this tough conversation gives you the information needed to either rebuild or move forward without them. Ignoring the problem only guarantees that resentment will grow, creating an irreparable rift. If someone is taking you for granted, you must address it directly. Most people aren't actively malicious, they're simply preoccupied with their own lives. Whether it's a partner, a friend, or a family member, approach the situation firmly. For example, if a friend always expects you to pick up the bill, address it. "I've been covering things recently and it's not fair to me. Can we split it this time?" This cuts through the unspoken tension and puts the issue plainly. When others are made aware of their behavior, it forces them to reassess how they treat you. Psychological studies consistently show that respectful confrontation is a powerful tool for behavior change. By speaking plainly and setting clear boundaries, you allow people to either rise to the occasion or show their true priorities. Not every confrontation will lead to resolution, but every confrontation ensures clarity. Resentment thrives in silence, while respect is forged through honesty and action. 5. Reinforce positive behavior, like training a dog. This might sound harsh, but people, like dogs, respond to reinforcement. When someone treats you well, acknowledge it. When they don't, withdraw your attention. It's a simple concept grounded in behavioral psychology. Think about Jane, whose boyfriend never planned dates. One day he surprised her with a night out, and she showered him with gratitude. Guess what? He started planning more dates. Why? Because her response created a positive feedback loop. This isn't manipulation, it's communication. When you reward the behaviors you want and disengage from those you don't, you're teaching people how to treat you. It's subtle but incredibly powerful. 6. Don't be afraid to walk away. This is the ultimate power move. The willingness to walk away from any relationship, romantic, professional, or platonic, signals that you value yourself more than the connection. It's not about being cold, it's about having standards. Consider the story of a woman who felt undervalued at work. She brought up her concerns with her boss, but nothing changed. So she quit and joined a company that appreciated her. The result? Her old boss tried to win her back with a better offer. Why? Because losing her made them realize her value. Walking away doesn't mean giving up, it means refusing to settle. If someone doesn't value you, let them feel your absence. As the saying goes, you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. 7. Be brutally honest with yourself. Sometimes the harshest truths come from within. Are you doing things that undermine your own respect? Are you too needy, too accommodating, or too quick to forgive? Self-awareness is the first step to change. Psychologist Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." If you're constantly feeling taken for granted, examine your patterns. Are you enabling this behavior? Are you afraid to set boundaries because you fear rejection? Honesty with yourself is painful but transformative. The moment you recognize your role in the dynamic, you regain control. From there, you can make conscious choices to change. 8. Stop seeking validation. Start demanding value. Many people get stuck in a cycle of seeking approval, thinking it will earn them respect. But validation seeking only makes you appear less confident and more disposable. If you want to stop being taken for granted, you need to shift from seeking validation to demanding value. Think about a colleague who constantly seeks praise from their boss. Their insecurity becomes their identity, making them easy to overlook. Contrast that with the colleague who confidently presents their work and expects recognition. The latter commands respect. The lesson? Confidence is key. Stop asking, "Do you appreciate me?" and start showing, "I appreciate myself." People will follow your lead. 9. Never be too available. Let's face it, being overly available can cheapen your presence. When you're always ready to drop everything for someone, they stop seeing you as a priority and start seeing you as an option. Think about it. When a luxury item is always on sale, its perceived value plummets. The same applies to human relationships. If someone never has to earn your time or attention, they'll stop valuing it altogether. In relationships, constantly being there often leads to complacency from the other person. A woman who is always available to her partner, even when she's busy or tired, will find her efforts taken for granted over time. She needs to create moments where her absence is felt. This doesn't mean playing games, it's about creating balance. Let others work to earn your attention instead of handing it out freely. Being unavailable sometimes forces people to recognize your value. Spend time pursuing your own goals, investing in hobbies, or enjoying solitude. The moment you step back, you'll notice who truly cares about your presence and who was merely using your availability for convenience. Don't fear stepping back, value grows in space. 10. Accept that not everyone deserves you. Finally, the toughest truth of all, Some people will never value you, no matter what you do. And that's okay. Respecting yourself means knowing when to let go. It's not your job to fix people or force them to see your worth. Think of the friends you've lost, the partners who left, or the opportunities that slipped away. Every loss taught you something valuable. Your worth isn't tied to others. When you let go of those who take you for granted, you make room for people who truly value you. As Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Walk away from those who don't respect you, and you'll find those who do. Life is too short to feel invisible. Respect isn't given, it's earned through tough choices and self-awareness. By implementing these 10 strategies, you'll not only stop others from taking you for granted, but also start living a life where your value is undeniable. Remember, change begins with you. The question is, are you ready to stop tolerating less and start demanding more? If you have made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.